Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update. Thursday, June 6th, around 9 p.m. Mountain Time 2024. This year's summer solstice will be Earth's earliest since 1796. And have you heard 2 helium leaks found on Boeing Starliner? Who could have expected that? Keep calm. It's boom time, Boeing style. Storms, flash flooding, large hail in Kansas City area. Holy macaroni. And remember that hailstone the size of a pineapple we were discussing the other day that was found in Texas? It will likely set a state record. Here you can see that hailstone in question. This shows a hailstone from Sunday, June 2nd, 2024, near Vigo Park, Texas, the nexus of the Schmexus. Well, and the rest is helmet history. The map showing how Tornado Alley has shifted has been brought to the public awareness. Here are all of the tornadoes that are showing up from 1951 to 1985. You can see where they are concentrated here in Oklahoma and a little bit of Texas. But what does the data suggest since 1985? Well, the tornadoes have made a drastic move to the east. Take a look at that. Now the bullseye is Mississippi and Louisiana. So quite an interesting shift and an even tighter bullseye now on Mississippi. Mississippi. You are the eye of the tornado. And here's the full forecast. Excessive heat for the Southwest. We're feeling it here in the barn. Showers and thunderstorms for portions of the plains and East Coast. Showers and thunderstorms are expected across the eastern 2/3 of the country today, along and ahead of a cold front. Some of these storms may result in isolated incidents of severe weather, including flash flooding. Meanwhile, more records may be tied or broken as excessive heat across the California's Central Valley and much of the desert Southwest continues. Thank God we got the Crow Canyon Petroglyph tour off when we did, or we'd be burning up in the desert. Quick look at the GFS model shows just a little bit of severe weather is going to begin to explode in about 9 hours. 3, 6, 9, 12 hours from now, the severe weather begins to explode there over Nebraska, and Kansas, and Iowa, and moves east, even in Missouri. So that is going to be the weekend, big winter, chicken dinner, center of the U.S., Friday night into Saturday morning, big weather for the center of the U.S. Take a look at that. 2024 data shows Svalbard polar bears fatter and more numerous as an ice-free Arctic by 2022 does not come true. Who knew? Now you do. In fact, we had some record ice gain here on Greenland over the last week. Take a look at this. That is record ice gain in May. Hey. I bet you didn't see that on the mainstream media. Neither did I, but we just pointed it out to you. Now let's talk about these fat bears. Male polar bears in 2024 are fatter than in 1993. Polar bear populations in Svalbard are more numerous now compared to 1993. Litter sizes of new cubs remain high. And slightly less sea ice has actually coincided with improved polar bear health. But the bad news is Svalbard sea ice levels have been above average since September of 2023. Those are the facts, the exact opposite of what the mainstream would have you believe. Seismic update. Here are the latest quakes in the last 24 hours. We just had a 3.6 in Newport Beach, followed by a 3.4. And now we've got another rumbler, 2.5 in Tom's Place. Interesting rumbler in the Sea of Okhotsk, 5.9 in the middle of nowhere. Some activity on the mid-ocean ridges here south of Iceland, but overall low-level activity worldwide. As the Kilauea volcanoes Short-lived volcano comes to an end. Eruption is unlikely to restart, according to the volcanologists. And subsequently, the alert status has been downgraded to yellow. Also today, we have Dukono, Ibu to 11,000 feet, Merapi to 11,000 feet, Liwatobi puffing and passing, Sabankai to 24,000 feet today, Dukono to 8, Fuego to 15, Liwatobi to 8, Ibu to 18,000 feet as it stays on the high level there. Semaru to 14,000 feet. Sabankai to 25. And since the most recent observed increased activity at White's Island volcano on the 25th of May, the local observatory has been closely monitoring the volcano as unrest is persisting over at White Island volcano. Ibu explosive activity continues with a plume that rose to 18,000 feet. Semaru, 14,000 foot puff. Who knew? Now you do. 15,000 foot puff at Fuego, Dukono to 8. And that wraps up worldwide volcano news for Friday, June 7th. A quick look at space weather for June 7th. You can see we did have an impulsive M6.1 flare earlier today from active region 3697, formerly 3664, the X-flare bringer of May. Hey, hey. But this impulsive flare did not bring a CME and very low level activity on the sun since then. The latest HMI intensity shows most of the sunspot groups decaying into nothing, and a new one popping up, well, right there, like swimwear. 3-day geomagnetic forecast is all calm, all quiet on the western front. We were psychic 6 hours ago, but popped up back to KP1. And there is a good look at that M6.1 impulsive flare earlier in the day. More space weather. The highest sunspot number in 22 years has been recorded. Has a lot to do with the superstorm of May 2024. The average sunspot number for May was 172, the highest value in 22 years so far, making cycle 25 the second weakest solar cycle in quite some time. So far, June is even higher at 200, but that is going to drop off a cliff based on the activity we're seeing now. This will not continue for the rest of the month, as we are seeing suggested here. And I think solar cycle 25 is over, folks. Take a look at the laser-like anti-tail of Comet 12P Pons-Brooks. This is when it was passing through the orbital plane of our solar system. And what you get is two tails pointing in opposite directions. This is causing it to develop a laser-like anti-tail, reports astronomer Ian Griffin, who sends this photo from Otago, New Zealand. Pretty fantastic there. Check out the plasma. Now, 2024 summer solstice is Earth's earliest since 1796. On June 20th, 2024, the summer solstice occurs at its earliest moment since the time of George Washington, when he was president of the USA. Totally amazing. On June 20th, 2024, Earth will experience its annual moment of the summer solstice, when Earth's North Pole is maximally tipped towards the sun. Winter solstice for the summer hemisphere. The last time the solstice was this early in the year, George Washington was serving as the first president of the United States, and the year was 1796. The solstice, on average, will continue getting earlier and earlier every 4 years until 2096, which will be the earliest solstice of the century. Then the pattern will end, and the precession of the equinox will continue unabated. Now, it's anyone's guess why there are 2 helium links found on a Boeing Starliner, but it was predicted by the numbers. Because it took 7 years for them to successfully even launch a spacecraft with astronauts into space, there were a lot of people that were thinking that there may be some additional troubles, like a door blowing off perhaps, or some other nonsense, like 2 helium leaks found on the Starliner itself. NASA says the spacecraft remains stable, which is good news, as ground experts work on the leak of inert gas used to power the thrusters. But hopefully they don't get lost in space. if you know what I mean. Zany ideas to slow polar melting are gathering momentum. They're suggesting to use giant curtains to keep warm water away from glaciers, and this strikes some as too risky. Yeah, well, first of all, where are you going to get the giant seamstress to make the curtains? According to this article, globally, sea levels have risen hundreds of feet since 1880. Most cities are underwater, which none of it's true, and not a single inch of sea level rise has occurred on most coastal beaches. It says most of the rise is consequence of water physically expanding as it warms. That's true. Thermal expansion, it has nothing to do with melting glaciers. It has to do with thermal expansion. It says then, but in recent decades, meltwater flowing off Greenland and Antarctica has significantly contributed too. No, it doesn't. Melting ice does not contribute to sea level rise, only thermal expansion. So that water has to be heated and then expand in order for sea level to rise. And that takes years or decades when you're talking about the oceans. Complete nonsense article, which will be linked below. And that's a boom to knowledge. Please buy the seeds from our affiliate, the Alliance of Native Seed Keepers. You can hedge your bets on the coming times that will be getting more and more difficult as inflation continues through the roof and you get priced out of healthy food. Why not grow your own? Become a Patreon, support the work we do. Watch all of our podcasts in one place, commercial free. But most importantly, be safe. We love you. And that is a boom to knowledge. Please share this video.